Peace, move to God. Peace, peace. Demetrius, peace. Peace, Cobra Queen. Chantel. Peace, peace. All right, we're just waiting for the more people to show up before we begin, as always. Once a few more people get in, we'll get ready to get it popping. Peace, Duma. All right. Peace, my V. Peace, peace. All right, as y'all know, tonight's discussion will be about honoring the dead, thought forms, and necromancy. All three are associated, and you'll find out how. First of all, when we deal with death, commonly we associate death with a physical death, but there are other forms of death that do happen even while you're existing or living in physical form. So let's go over some of those things as we begin. There's the literal death, which is old age. Before I continue, this is one of the books I'm coming from this evening. Honoring, right, is a reflection. Honoring the Dead, or Honoring Death, by S. Connolly. All right, that's one of the books. This is another one, which is Book of the Dead by Christian Day. And I'm also coming from Communing with Spirits by Martin Coleman, which I only have in PDF form. I don't have the book form yet. I'm going to get it soon. Anyways, literal death. That's old age. Even when a loved one is advanced in age and nearing the twilight years, does not make the acceptance of death any less painful. Perhaps easier to accept, as the person who isn't dying, yes, but not less painful. Loss is a loss regardless the age of the person who passed. We can never assume a person shouldn't feel lost just because their mother was 93 when she passed. Sure, her death was inevitable, but so is all death. Okay? There's illnesses. We lose sometimes loved ones to an illness, a disease, or things of that nature. All right? Although it's not something we all want, it is something that is a part of life. So when death occurs because of an illness, it seems to be harder. Peace, Jennifer. Long time no see. It seems to be harder on the individual or individuals because illness can take a toll psychologically, not just physically, on all involved, not just the actual person who's ill, but the family, friends, loved ones, things of that nature. They go through a psychological process of them and their inevitable death. There's sudden and unexpected death, which seems to be even more tragic, which is by what some could consider an accident, murder, things of that nature. So you have to understand those kind of things can devastate the mind of the people left behind. Many times people cry because of the things that were not done or left unsaid to the individual that passed away. And it can become even more detrimental or more profound on the individual. Mama Huerte, what up? What up? So it becomes more profound to individuals at that point because it was unexpected or a sudden death. And it's very traumatic for the family or people left behind. So there is also another kind of death that is needing assistance by necromancers. And what that is crossing spirits over. As we see in the movies, necromancers merely reasoning with the spirit and getting them to pass. Many necromancers will tell you that, yes, sometimes it can work. But the spirit, if it's confused or enraged, may not necessarily always work that easily. Here's the problem with that simplistic view. Most often, spirits that are grounded are confused or enraged or have unfinished business, and that's why they're sticking around to begin with. This means that either you need to help the spirit out, if you can reasonably do so. Sometimes you may find you can't, or you may need to cross them over by opening a gate for them. Now, gate opening is a very complex process and procedure. It's not as simple as just being a gatekeeper, which we discussed last week. It's certain rituals that take place, certain geometry that may take place, certain tones and frequencies or vibrations or chants that may take place. So it's not as a simple process just because you may be a gatekeeper that you just automatically go and open gateways for spirits to come in and out. You have to have learned the process, and yes, your natural gift and ability will enable that process to be smooth and flow to happen easier for you, but it takes work and dedication. If you truly are a gatekeeper, it takes work to help spirits cross over, all right? Gate opening is a complex process, and anyone who isn't a natural gatekeeper and tells you they can open a gate easily is probably bullshitting you. I'm sure there are exceptions. Opening gates can be dangerous. It takes time and energy and can produce dramatic results. Sometimes you may come in contact with nasty human spirits or other kind of spirits. You may have to forcibly remove them from your space. And that we'll discuss later on. Now, there's also a metaphorical death. Metaphoric death comes in many forms. There's dramatic life changes that cause stress and anxiety in the average human. This can include the loss of a job or career, a divorce, or a loss of independence or one's home. The beauty of a metaphoric death or change is that it is often followed by a rebirth and an awakening. Like the phoenix, one rises from the flames of destruction. While the physical loss of a loved one is difficult, never underestimate the pain, loss, and suffering experienced by a person going through a divorce, a couple who can't have children, or the 50-year-old man who loses his job only to discover his skill set is obsolete and his purpose in life, his career, his reason for being for so long has been taken from him. But what about the person whose independence is taken away by a debilitating disease or advancing age, or whose memories are lost to Alzheimer's? All right? Keep in mind these three types of death. Okay, there's the physical death, there's the death of illness, there's the death of spirits who are grounded or stuck here, and they seem to be repeating this death over and over. And then there's the metaphorical death of you losing a loved one, you losing a relationship, things of that nature. Each one has their different level of trauma on the psyche of an individual, and each one can hold that individual in a stagnant position for as long as that person seems to not be able to get past that. Okay? So, understanding energies, frequencies, vibrations, spirits, this is an important aspect of what necromancers do. Okay? It's not always just raising the dead as some believe, or as what is depicted in Hollywood and things that of that nature. What up, Mr. Mario? So keep that in mind. Now, honoring the dead. Okay? What is honoring the dead? All over this planet, you have various cultures, religious groups, things of that nature, and they all honor the dead or deceased in their own special way. There is no right or wrong way in how to honor a deceased individual. Okay? There is your way. And this is the key, especially as a necromancer, especially one walking the left-hand path, is finding your way how to honor that deceased or deceased individuals or groups of people. Okay, there is no right or wrong way. I repeat that again. Honoring the dead. Okay, you have the ancestral altar. Is not specific to any one culture, whether it's Eastern culture, Western culture, etc., etc. Many of these different groups, tribes, ethnic groups, etc., have erected shrines and altars to the dead. Perhaps some of the most famous of all festivals is Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, that is celebrated in Mexico on November 2nd. Also on November 2nd, the Gay Day. There is a festival for the Gay Day, which is also working with the spirits of the dead. On this day, the ancestors who've passed are honored with elaborate altars decorated with sugar skulls and marigolds for the Day of the Dead in Mexico. And then there is an actual ceremony for the Gay Day. There's dancing, there's food, there's things of that nature, and the spirits are brought down to be mounted on individuals or select groups of people. Pictures of deceased relatives and personal items of the deceased may also be put on altars. People will gather in cemeteries to pray, and there may be parades, feasts, and other festivities. These celebrations happen all throughout these different areas across the world. Now, when you go into the nitty gritty of it, is honoring the dead or the deceased. One of the basic tools that you have to have or create is your own personal altar for the deceased. Now, understand this. There's a difference between an ancestral altar and an altar of the dead. It's a big difference, okay? An ancestral altar is usually an altar of your deceased relatives, bloodline, or connection to certain groups of individuals or people. Whereas a altar for the dead is more of a necromantic altar, which is working and communing with the spirits for various goals or tasks. Myself, when I work with my ancestors, I do not put my ancestors to do any work for me. My ancestors are there for knowledge, wisdom, and guidance. I give reverence, I communicate, and I speak with them. Everybody chooses to do it differently. However, if I need some serious work to get done, that's when I go into my necromantic mode and go to the graveyard and find select spirits, or go to their tombstone, find select individuals who are able to do the work that is necessary or that I need. And what do I mean by that? if I have someone who is crossing boundaries and crossing the line of disrespect or trying to hurt me, my loved ones, or putting myself in jeopardy or threatening or whatever the case may be. Now, this is a quiz question for you all listening here. Do you go to a reverend who passed away, or do you go to let's say, a soldier, a Marine, Army veteran, or whatever, when you go to the cemetery? Of course, you would go to the cemetery and find a soldier, a policeman, someone who dealt with combat skills, okay, or things of that nature. Why? It is important that you understand this fact because people sometimes go to the graveyard and just pick out any spirit. Case in point, you need to do a money ritual, okay? And you are trying to connect or open doorways for finances to come through. Why would you go to the graveyard and just pick out any old spirit when that person could have been broke ass dead when they were alive? You don't go to broke spirits, and I say that, you don't go to broke spirits thinking that just because they're a spirit that you're not going to have a windfall financial gain. If they were broke when they were alive, most likely you're still going to have a broke result. You go to people who are bankers, okay? They were stockbrokers. They were something, okay? Now you may ask, well, how do I find this out? When you're at the tombstone, usually the person's name, date of birth, and things, you can find in their obituary, you can usually find an obituary about that individual, do some research, and see what they were in their real life while they were in physical form. So you have to understand these. They seem simple, but people do this mistake quite often. And then they get upset because they didn't get a result. You can't get upset if you don't get a result. If you're going to, let's say, a broke ass spirit, but you want $1,000 because you need it for next week to do whatever, and then you don't get the $1,000, but then you find out this person, deceased person, who's now a spirit, was broke ass in real life. Well, you kind of did that to yourself because you just thought, oh, all spirits are great and powerful. Bullshit. Get out of that mentality. That's not the way spirits work. Many times, if what they were like and when they were alive can translate into what they're like after they pass. Sure, they may go through their own schooling, they may go through more wisdom and gain more knowledge and things like that, but they could still be stubborn asses. For example, if you had a stubborn person when they were alive and you try to get that person to do work for you, they're still stubborn today. Okay? That doesn't change. People have this misconception, oh, they're a spirit now. So some way, somehow, somebody anointed them with oil over their head, and now they're super profound and wise and powerful. No, they could still be that same grumpy ass person. You understand? We gotta get out of that mentality, that limiting mentality, because that's what's hurting individuals when they do this work. Is you have to really understand the difference between the two, okay? You have to really get that in your mind. So when you're setting up your altar to honor the dead, first keep in mind, is it an ancestral altar? And am I honoring my family and my blood? Okay? Or am I creating an altar for the dead to commune with different spirits to do different work? Keep that in mind when you do your work. Okay? They work differently. They sometimes can work a little similar, but they are different. Okay? So keep that in mind when you go forward. What should you have on your altar? Well, that depends on what you like and what you feel you want to work with as far as spirits. Now, one of the basic things to have on your altar for the dead is a skull. A skull, if you can find a real one, more power to you. Most skulls, if you get a real skull, legally that is, sometimes like $1,500 or more. Okay? If you can get a real skull, even better. But if not, you get a replica skull made of ceramic, things of that nature, and the skull is pretty much like a gateway, or I should say it's like a mouthpiece to communicate with the dead. Okay? That should be one of the basic things that's on your altar. Okay? What else should be on there? Anything that's replica of death. Tombstones, coffins, coffin nails, graveyard dirt. I'm alert this to y'all. Your necromantic altar is not going to be clean. Most of the time, it's not going to be clean. It's going to have a lot of graveyard dirt. It's going to have human bones. Like I have human bones, which I also have on my website for anyone who wants that. Human bones, and I litter it around my altar, and sometimes I burn it in my rituals. When you burn a human bone, it stinks badly. So you better have some powerful oil or incense that you burn along with it. So you litter that around your altar. If you're going to use certain stones, you use certain crystals or stones that are connected with that death current or death energy. Okay? Pneumite, things of that nature, hematite, those can work in attracting darker energy or working with death current. All right? So keep that in mind when you're working your altars. All right? You can put anything else you want on there. For example, on my main skull, I have a top hat, which I used in one of the rituals we did in South Florida for the gay day. Okay? And that was a Baun Semdi or Baron Semdi top hat that I utilized for the ritual we did about 1.5 years ago. And it's still charged with energy, so I put it on the skull. Okay? Representing that energy or work. Some spirits like rum. So you should have rum. Okay? Some spirits like cigars. So you should have cigars. But at the same time, certain spirits don't like cigars because tobacco, pure tobacco, can keep certain spirits away. This is why it's burnt or smoked or blown in certain rituals, because it keeps certain vibrational spirits away that keeps them away. I'll just put it that way. So you should have that around there. Okay? This is one of the ways you set up your altar for the dead. And you have to understand this altar is like a vortex or gateway for the spirits to come in and out. That's why you create an altar. It's literally like a vortex or gateway where spirits can come in and out. And it has that energy you create with it the more you work with it. Okay? Like I said, you should have graveyard dirt on there. You should have different kind of things like that on your altar for the dead. And you honor them, okay, by paying respect to them. That is different, though. You have to understand, paying respect is not being a chump and being controlled, used, and abused. People do that quite too often and end up being screwed. All right? Now, necromancy, necromantic divination. There's different ways to do divination as a necromancer. Some people use spirit boards. One of them is a Ouija board. All right? I don't really too much mess with that. It ain't because I'm scared. It just doesn't do nothing for me. All right? But those are some things that people utilize in their necromantic work to actually do some actual divination or communication with the spirits to do some divination. All right? Scrying mirrors. A black scrying mirror is perfect for working with spirits who have deceased or demonic spirits or things of that nature, depending on your forte and what you like to do. Okay? A black scrying mirror is something that you should have on your altar. Okay? If you don't have a black scrying mirror, you should have a mirror as a symbol of gateway between this dimension and the next dimension. That should be there, and you should learn how to use scrying mirrors. That's another way to do some divination in necromancy. Crystals. Crystals are good for gazing and opening communication with the spirits. Scrying bowls is another one. All right. Now, how do you contact a specific spirit? Some people, it says easy as seeing, or simple as seeing a picture of a person or knowing the name of a person. And their natural gift and ability allows them to communicate with that spirit. Okay? Everybody's different. You have to find what works best for you. So, another way, which is probably the easiest way, is having an object that individual actually had on their person. Whether it's shirts, watches, rings, anything like that. Anything that person had on themselves or used on a daily basis, it's as easy as getting a hold of that, putting it in your hand, and meditating on that object and feeling the energy that permeates from that object, and meditating and tuning in. You eventually will hear or connect to that spirit. You might not do it on the first try, but there will be success the more you practice this. Okay, you can hold on to it through meditation. All right. Now, some people channel. Okay. Some people can channel spirits. Now, let me give you a warning when you channel spirits. When you channel spirits, make sure that you're not mentally effed up. Okay? You have to make sure that you mentally are not effed up. You have to have dealt with your issues and bullcrap before you do a lot of this necromantic work. Because spirits can prey on people who have a lot of issues, and they can find those issues that open up doorways for weaknesses and fear and things of that nature, and whoop, they can mess with you from there on out. So if you focused and dealt with a lot of this within yourself, it will assist you in channeling, okay? But you had to have dealt with your issues, all right? Here's a channeling meditation you can try. Meditate on the person you're trying to contact using a picture or item imbued with their essence. Allow the energy to surround you. Surrender to it. Merge with it. Remember your breath. Relax. Allow all emotions, feelings, thoughts to flow freely. Their thoughts become your thoughts and vice versa. You're intertwined with this spirit. Keep that in mind when you are trying to communicate with spirits. All right, so let's get into something that I really want to discuss when it comes to working with spirits. All right, we went over some of the basics of honoring the dead. But this is more of a part that I really wanted to focus on. Because we've discussed this before, but I think we need to go a little further into it. This is coming from Communing with Spirits by Martin Coleman. All right. Controlling Spirit Influences, Part 1. As a necromancer, you'll be working with spirits of the dead. In addition to the spirits with whom you will be working, you will also have a number of other spirits of the dead visiting in your home at all times. And understand this, once you start working with spirits, it could just be your relatives. It opens the door for other spirits to come through. If you're not ready for that, don't do it. All right. A number of these spirits will be living with you in your home at all times. You will be open to being influenced by these spirits and other spirits of the dead unless you take precautions to limit their influence on you. This, my friends, is very important what we're about to get into. Again, you will be open to being influenced by these spirits and other spirits of the dead unless you take precautions to limit their influence on you. To understand just how spirits influence people, it is first necessary to understand the way that thoughts arrive in our conscious minds. Most people believe that the thoughts they have originate in their own minds from inside themselves. But modern psychology has demonstrated that this is not entirely true. There are a number of external influences that will cause people to have a thought arise in their conscious minds. We will look at each of the major influences in turn. As we examine these influences, you will understand why it is so necessary for magicians to devote so much time to studying and understanding themselves. Sounds familiar. Why does it sound familiar? It sounds familiar because this is something that we discussed since the Awakening Universal Minds talk show was on the air to this day when we do these live lectures. You have to understand yourself as a magician, as a sorcerer, whatever you want to call yourself. You have to understand yourself, which means you have to study yourself, which means you have to take inventory of your own self, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful, and can't just pick one over the other because they're all interrelated and they all make you who you are today. But it's important because understand, this individual says that much of our thought, and modern psychology does attest to this from my studies, a lot of our thoughts are not of our own. They are external influences that we think are coming from ourselves, but they're really external stimuli, and we're processing it as our own individual thoughts. I'll give you a very quick example. You may not really be hungry. You driving down the street and you're bombarded with billboards, you're bombarded with signs and stores, restaurants, all kinds of symbols and words, and their store signs, etc. And most of these restaurants have a very similar color scheme. Red or red and gold. Think about all the restaurants that use the color red, and then ask yourself why. Then think about some of the other restaurants that use the color red and green, and ask yourself why. So, mind you, you're driving down the street, you're not really hungry, you see all these signs, billboards, and things, etc., and all of a sudden you start to feel hunger. Is that a thought of your own, or was that external stimuli that created a process within you to feel hungry, and now you're interpreting as, I am hungry without any external influence? To be in control of the universe around you, you must first be in control of yourself. Again, back to all the shows and episodes on Awakening Universal Minds, these lectures, where we always consistently and constantly talk about what? You have to know yourself. You have to master yourself. You have to have self-control, self-discipline, critical thinking, all the bases necessary to be a master over yourself. Okay? So again, to be in control of the universe around you, you must first be in control of yourself. This requires that you be in control of your own mind. Whoa. How many people on this video right now can say they're in control of their own mind. And if you said that you feel you're 100% in control of your own mind, I would say, that's all I'm going to say. If you are going to perform any kind of magic, you must first be well acquainted with and able to work with those parts of yourself that actually perform the magic. This requires that you know far more about yourself, your motivations, your real needs and desires than the average person is even able to believe that he or she could know. From an occult or hidden point of view, human beings have an intangible, non-physical body, which is intermingled with and the constant companion of the physical body. This non-physical body is referred to as the astral body because it is said to respond to the non-physical influence of the stars and the planets. The word astral is a Greek word meaning stars, because the astral body is thought to be the starry body of man, because the astral body responds directly to the influences of the planets and the stars. Many of the thoughts that may enter into a person's mind are the result of the influence of those forces of the universe, which we identify with the planets and stars. And let me tell you how witches and individuals of that nature are victim of this very thing, and they actually promote this very thing and enslave their minds to this very thing. Every Mercury retrograde, you go into any social media, and that's all you see plastered on any pages and blogs and whatever. Oh, Mercury retrograde. Oh, this and this and this and that. And my response to them is, if you are a true master or God over yourself, Mercury retrograde cannot affect you. This is what this is alluding to. Your non-physical body, your astral body is connected to the stars and planets. But if you have no conscious control over that, then you will be influenced and controlled by those very things. So you have to start learning to master even the non-physical, the astral body over yourself. Okay? Because your astral body is constantly feeding off of the spiritual realm, constantly feeding off of different vibrations than we are in the physical form, and is easily influenced. But if you don't take your conscious level to another level, then you too will be a victim or controlled by these very things. And this is why Mercury retrograde has such a profound effect on individuals who really claim to be a witch, and I, by my own will, create my own life. But really, do you? If you're so worried about Mercury retrograde that you have to go and basically hide in a cave sometimes, think about it, people. Think about it. If you are going to be in control of your own thoughts and actions, it is necessary that you become someone who is ruled by yourself alone. Can you honestly say you rule yourself alone? Don't just say it because you want to sound deep, but can you really mean it? Are you really in control of your own thoughts and actions? Ask yourself every day, from this day forth, are you really in control of your own thoughts and actions? It is necessary that you become someone who is ruled by yourself alone. You must be beyond the unrecognized influence of the planets and stars. You must be able to learn and recognize and understand the subtle influences of the non-physical forces of the universe upon your astral body. The process of freeing yourself from the bind or the blind influence of the forces of the universe upon your astral body is known as transcending your horoscope. It is impossible to go into the details here, but let me say this. It is enough to mention that many teachers, both of spirituality and of magic, direct their students in this process so they can obtain the benefits which it brings. However, a lot of teachers will never fully give you this because they want you to always be under their control, their influence. They always want you to be relying on them for some reason or the other. All right? Spirits of the dead exist, or more accurately, live in the same non-physical realm, which is the astral realm. They can only influence the thoughts of those who are under the unknowing sway of the astral forces of the universe. This is why I said earlier, if you're going to work with spirits, these spirits are in the next dimension or the astral realm. They sit there waiting for people who are gullible, people who have no control over themselves, although they think they do, have no control over their mind, although they think they do. And these spirits sit there like prey, like predators for the prey. Sorry, they're predators waiting for their prey. Here we come walking along, and I'm not saying myself or y'all, I'm just saying as an example, people come walking along, swearing that they've done all this, swearing that they're ready for this. Boom, they open a door for that, and here come the spirits vamping down on them as predators. But this is why I only go so far with certain topics until what? We realize I have done the work on myself. Then when you really feel you've done the work on yourself, can we go into deeper classes that are more private? Until then, we're always going to just go in and then skim the surface and come back out. Why? Because you have to really take serious inventory on yourself. Okay? Serious inventory on yourself and ask yourself, am I easily influenced from outside forces, or am I truly in control of myself? Those bundles of emotional energy that magicians often refer to as thought forms also exist in the astral universe. Thought forms are mental conceptions which are vitalized or brought into existence by human emotional energy. These mental conceptions have an independent existence so long as they are fed by emotional energy. Pay attention to this, y'all, because this is some serious shit. All right? These mental conceptions have an independent existence so long as they are fed by emotional energy. Are you feeding people your energy still? Are you feeding people every day and are not really aware of this fact? Ask yourself that question as well. How much do you feed your emotions to external things? Or how much do you feed your emotions to people, other people outside of yourself who really don't give two shits about you? Think about that. So these emotional energies, either from their originator or from another living human source. These thought form conceptions may be either of good or ill intent, but they all have emotional energy which can be used to influence the thoughts and thus the actions of others. Your emotions. Emotions are nothing more than energy in motion. And when you put a thought behind it, you can control another individual or be controlled. You just have to know the science behind energy and how it works, and the power of thoughts and how they work, and you either control or be controlled. Unfortunately, in today's society and world, most people are controlled. Okay? Thought forms are of various dimensions. Large thought forms containing such emotions, and this goes for the masses of idiots in today's world right now, what I'm about to say. Thought forms are of various dimensions. Large thought forms containing such emotions as patriotism and national pride are found throughout an entire nation. You best believe when it comes to patriotism and national pride, that is a system of control and one of the number one systems of control on this planet as we speak today. People get caught up on this nationalistic bullshit and this patriotism bull crap. And it's all systematic control, mental control over us to easily activate our emotions, feeding it into stupidity. Sure, there's nothing wrong with being proud of your race, your nationality, your culture, whatever. But when you get to the extreme about it, where you just cut out all logic and just go into straight stupidville, then it becomes a problem. And unfortunately, a lot of individuals are in stupidville right now. Right now, in the last how many months have we had an extreme rise of these nationalistic, patriotic, stupid-ass idiots going up shooting a bunch of people? Call it conspiracy, call it whatever. The point is, people are easily influenced and controlled by this thought form on a very high level. Smaller thought forms, such as love of home, may be found in a person's home. All of these thought forms are formed and maintained in the astral universe by the emotion-powered thoughts of living human beings. Now, let me say this. Remember, I used to tell y'all that archetypes are nothing more than astral energy. Why did I say that? Because most of them were conceived in the thoughts and minds of ancient priests who utilized these archetypes, created archetypes, to control the masses of people for the pharaoh, for the king, the queen, whatever the case may be. And these archetypes were then fed our emotional energy. People love God and never seen a damn God. They spend so much of their emotion feeding a god, gods or goddesses that you've never physically touched. And don't tell me you've seen it, because your subjective world can create anything. And you can create a god or goddess in the image you want it to be seen just that quickly. If you ain't touched that shit, shook its hand, danced with it, or whatever the case may be, it's all sometimes being created in your mind just because you want to see it or connect to it so bad. But most archetypes are created by the minds of priesthoods, ancient priesthoods, and we feed our energy to it every day. People pray to God, cry to God. People beg God. That's just the monotheistic. God, Allah, Yahweh, Jehovah, Allah, whatever. Then you come into the pagan side, and then there's so many gods and goddesses sometimes that people worship and pray to and never even met the fools. But they feed their emotional energy, constantly feeding that astral energy, your emotions, to the point where this astral energy has taken on a life of its own, but truly has no consciousness other than the consciousness that humans gave to it through your emotional energy and created to it. Let me keep going. All of these thought forms are formed and maintained in the astral universe by the emotion-powered thoughts of living human beings. Larger thought forms are formed and maintained in the astral universe by the thoughts of large numbers of people who think the same thought repeatedly with the great emotion. When a human being enters into an area in which a thought form is located, he or she is affected by its presence. I'll give you an example. Exactly what this means. You're going to a club. You's chilling. You in chill mode, son. You kicking back, you chilling, you sipping on whatever, right? You get into the club, you went from chill mode to super frantic mode, super horny mode, super charged up mode in a matter of an instance. Why? Because that is a center for that energy. That emotion is charging that place up, and the minute you walk into it, you get altered by an external thought form and influences you immediately. Boom, you give into it and don't even realize that you're doing it. When a human being enters an area in which a thought form is located, he or she is affected by its presence. The presence of a thought form in a given place often acts to shape the thoughts of visitors to that place. You ever been to the mall and sit back and watch people closely? They're zombies. There's always music playing in the mall, in the outside of the mall, and then when you get into these stores. In the outside of the mall, the music playing is usually some smooth, relaxed state kind of music. So people are walking like zombie-ish form. You get into the store, they pump you up with energy. This is why the music's usually more fast-paced. House music, some trap, some whatever. They charge you up again. So you went from this chill, relaxed mode, like looking outside at all the stores. Then you go into a store, they pump up the energy. Why? Because now you're in a frantic pace, frantic energy. Your mind is racing. You're being bombarded by all these colors, clothes, all these things. And your desires rise to the surface. They got you. You were going in there to not buy shit. You just dropped 200 and you're shaking your head coming out and say, damn, I didn't want to buy this shit. But then we justify it and say what? Yeah, but I needed this shit. Yeah, did you really? Anyways, that's just an example, okay? The reactions that people have upon entering a cathedral or some other holy site is an example of this. You're going to church. You're going to other places like that. You've been zapped by that thought form, that energy, and you're quickly given to that. Don't even realize it. Deliberately building thought forms is one of the most frequently used techniques in magical practice. It is taught as a magical practice in almost every form of magical training. This process of building thought forms can be used as advantageously by the necromancer to protect him or herself from negative spirit influence. The necromancer must build a strong thought form surrounding the ancestral or spirit shrine, which indicates that the shrine is sacred to the necromancer's ancestors or spirits they work with. It should also state powerfully that the necromancer personally is in charge of the ancestral or spirit shrine. Once the necromancer has obtained the spirits of divination and working spirits, the necromancer must surround the location where these spirits are kept with the same kind of powerful thought form. The thought form must identify the area as a place where the necromancer is the absolute master. You have to place yourself to be the absolute master of your sacred space, your shrines, whatever. And you are in total command. Now, I remember one day I had posted something. And this individual agreed with everything. You are God, you this and that. But there was one thing they didn't agree with. Controlling spirits. You are, or no, command the spirits, and you are in control and command of the spirits. So this individual said, I don't know about that. So I said, what? What don't you know? Well, you shouldn't control the spirits or command them. Why not? Couldn't give me an answer other than some traditional bullshit that they were taught in some certain systems. Listen, you are the God. You control everything in your life. This includes spirits if you choose to work with spirits. You are in control and command of those spirits too. And you can still respect them and still be in control and command over them. Yeah, I respect you. You were once a person who existed. I honor that fact. I honor the fact that you crossed over. But check this out. Spirit, I'm in control here. This is my throne. This is my domain. And you are choosing to what? Communicate because you are trying to gain access into this realm. You best believe I am in control of what happens from here forth. You're not gaining access unless I say so, command so, or get what I want out of this situation. There's nothing wrong with that. If you still feel you can't be in control or command of spirits, then go back into religion, go back into spooky magic traditions, and just be a groveler and worshiping spirits all your life. And never become a god or a master over things. And being controlled by these spirits is what you're going to open yourself to be. Okay? So be a man or woman who is a master and in total command of your shrine, your altar, sacred space, and over the spirits. If you can't do it, please take your weak ass out of here and go find somewhere else you could do that at. All right? By repeatedly building and feeding this strong thought form, and by vitalizing it with emotional energy on a daily basis, any spirits who come to the necromancer's home will be influenced to feel that the necromancer is the sole master of this territory. You are the sole master of this territory, and you should be known as that sole master of this territory. So when the spirits come, they will listen to you and do as you ask. This will keep many spirits from acting stupid or negative. It will also discourage any casually visiting spirits who might otherwise have a negative influence in the affairs of the necromancer. Spirits living in the astral universe are still influenced by thoughts which they place in the astral universe when they were alive. As long as the necromancer protects his or her personal space with a strong thought form, negative spirits will have difficulty influencing the necromancer. This is only a partial protection, however, as in most cases, the necromancer has not usually mastered the control of his or her mind and emotions sufficiently to make a strong enough barrier to keep out all of the possible negative influences that might come in from the astral realms. This stronger mental protection of space comes only with time and experience. Being able to form a sharp, clear thought is an important part of learning just where the thoughts that enter your mind come from. This is why students of magic are taught the arts of focusing attention, developing concentration, meditation, and visualization. Again, these are the things that we've gone over and over. Now it's getting to the point where I'm going to stop repeating a lot of this, and we're going to go into doing real classes, private classes, for those who are serious enough to walk this path and go deep into it. That doesn't mean I still won't do general classes or live lectures, but to really get this work, we're going to have to kind of go in private and do these things, y'all, because a lot of this stuff, you're going to have to really have done a lot of this work. And we're going to have to go into private, rituals where we have group rituals to do necromantic kind of rituals. Part of that was done recently in South Florida when y'all went to the cemetery. Okay? But for those who really want to work with spirits and things of that nature, I'm going to go to a whole nother level with this. If you're serious, you'll hit me up and let me know. If not, that's all good. Keep doing what you do. All right? I'm going to go into in-depth ways on meditation. Okay, there's a lot of meditation methods that I learned through Buddhists and other groups of people. Concentration. There's ways to really learn how to concentrate to the point where you can concentrate and see something on the other side of the wall. Okay, visualization. Some people have difficulty visualizing, others don't. There's a surefire way to get there, and I can share some of that with y'all. All right? If your own thoughts are sharp and clear, and if they form an uncluttered mind, you will be able to recognize thoughts that are foreign to you by their lack of clarity, as well as their unusual appearance in your mind. Case in point, listen to this now. The thought, if it's not from you, is not clear. If you have muddled thoughts and you're trying to get some clarity on this thought, and you still can't, it's not coming from you. That thing is dropped into you. All right, so you got to learn how to eliminate that right then and there because it's not from you. If you consciously associate certain thoughts with certain symbols, most people do this subconsciously, you will immediately recognize intruding thoughts as they will not have the key symbols that you ordinarily use with them. We can now list the primary influences on human thoughts in the following way. Number 1, thoughts from the astral universe. 2, thoughts from thought forms, either your own or those of others. And number 3, thoughts originating from the spirits of the dead or from any other entities in the astral universe. Now, Next week, okay? Next week, we're going to go into number 3 in more detail. Thoughts originating from the spirits of the dead or from any other entities in the astral universe. We're going to go into greater depth for that next week. Okay, after that, then we're going to go into part 1 and 2 of a Luciferian method on mental mastery. And then after that, we're going to continue that with more mental mastery. We're going to get more into really sharpening the mind, working in depth, because when I do these private classes, we got to be further along than just at the beginning. So I'm going to give people time to catch up for those who feel they need to catch up so that we can get into some real mental work. All right, mental magic as it should be. So next week, we're going to go into number 3. Again, thoughts originating from the spirits of the dead or other astral entities and how they affect you. So now, let's get busy with some questions here. All right, let me scroll up first before I take any questions and see what some of y'all said. All right, so there's 3 books that y'all should get for these necromantic classes we're going over. There's this one, all right, Honoring Death by S. Connolly. All right, she's really good. She works with demonolatry and necromancy and connects the two. She's very, very, very good at what she does. Then there's The Witch's Book of the Dead by Christian Day. Another very good book. Okay. Then I'm coming mostly from the thought form. It's mostly coming from Communing with Spirits by Martin Coleman. You can, I don't have the hardcover copy yet, the paperback copy. I'm getting it soon. It's I don't really think they printed as much as they used to, so you have to try to find it. But if not, I can send you the PDF file if you're interested afterwards. I can send this to people who email me for it. So this is Communing with Spirits from Martin Coleman. All right. Yes, thoughts have power, so do thoughties. Thoughts and thoughts and thought all have power. All right. Exactly. Mama Muerte. Forgot the Japanese brother's name, but he did an experiment with water showing how water actually responds to our emotions and our oral statements or oral words based on those emotions, and how water actually responds to that in a different geometric shapes created by that. So that's important to know because vibrations have a profound effect on the psyche and the emotional body of individuals. True, Mama Muerta. That's how you do it. When you're at the mall, it's a perfect place to practice your magic. You either get influence or you influence others. Sir Noble, gateways can open while you're in a graveyard doing a ritual. It depends on the individual. It depends on your connection. It depends on what your gift is or not gift. So it can open or may not open. Depends on each individual. When you do your ritual, you have to be prepared for that. Because when you open a gateway, different spirits can come through, not just the one you're trying to contact. So you have to be prepared for that, and there's ways to work on that, which is what we're going to discuss when I do the private necromancer classes. There's ways to actually figure that out. Yes, you're in control, but you can ask for guidance. See, this is why I said earlier, when it comes to guidance, I use my ancestors for mostly knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and guidance. Now, for anything else, I'll find and work with other spirits for that particular thing that I'm trying to accomplish, whether it's finances, whether it's protection, whether it's this, that. My ancestors, to me, I just mostly communicate for knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and guidance. Okay? I let them do their task and accomplish their work on that astral existence the way they see fit, as long as it takes them. But when it comes time to do some other work, these other spirits they mind. They mind, and we're going to work some stuff. All right? But at the same time, when I work with these spirits, okay? When I work with these spirits, this is what I do. I will make a pact with a spirit, and I'll tell them, depending on what they want or they ask for, I'm only going to, let's say they want some rum. Just an example, they want some rum. I'll say, I'm only going to give you a little bit of this rum, and I'm not going to give you your fill of rum until this task is accomplished. 99% of the time, it gets accomplished. Then I give them their fill of that rum. Okay? It could be anything. Whatever is their request is. You are in control. So if you understand, why would you give them everything they want before the job is even done? Common sense says you don't do that. You give them a little bit of that to get them hyped up to want more, to get the job done, then you give them the rest. That's how I work it. Now, anybody else, however you choose to work it, that's your choice. That's how I work it, and that's what I found to be the most effective. And I've shared that with some other individuals, and it's become more effective for them as well. But you're the master in control of all that. So you have to remember that when you work with spirits, all right? Always remember you're the master. That's correct, Jennifer Long. That is correct. That's a Buddhist philosophy, and you should learn how to master all 10 worlds. The problem with a lot of human beings, we want to master the spiritual and still ain't figured out how to master the physical. You're in the physical, so this should be a mastery. You should master this physical level, this physical existence. Before you go on to trying to master everything else, master this physical existence first. This is what you're living right now. I can't stand when people tell me, oh, I'm a spirit. The physical is not important. Yeah? Well, then why the hell are you still here if it's not important? Obviously, it's important if you're still in this goddamn physical form. Don't just tell me it's hell and you have to go live through this hell to survive to get out of here. No, you're here because you're supposed to learn how to master this. You're supposed to learn some serious lessons in this physical so you don't have to repeat the same lessons over and over. Okay? So master the physical while you're here, then go on to the different levels of mastery that are necessary. Brother Amos, if you go back to church, amen, brother. Praise the Lord. May Jesus love you. True indeed, Mama Huerta. When you get your ancestral altar set up, it's gonna be juicy. That's all I can say. You work with both, it's gonna be juicy. Sir Noble, yes, gateways can open up. You have to remember when you're, listen, let me say this, when you're working with spirits, spirits are not in this physical existence. They're in the astral realm, which is usually right outside of this physical form. The veil is thin between the two. The problem is humans forgot how to see into that realm of existence right next to this one. So the veil becomes thick because our eyes, specifically opening your true eye, is clogged with so much crap that you can't see. Meaning all the beliefs that you've been bombarded with, all the fear that you've been given about spirits, and horror movies are bombarding you all the time to be afraid and scared. Okay? So the veil becomes thicker when the veil is really thin between the living and the dead. So when you do rituals with the dead, you are opening the veil. They can come through very easily. You open up the gateways and portals. That's not the problem. How do you close it? That's the problem. You have to know how to close these gateways purposely. This is one of the reasons you use a dagger sometimes in your rituals as a necromancer, because the dagger is symbolic of cutting through the veil. And you can either cut the hole to open a gateway, or you can put it back. There's ways to do all this. And I'm going to share that more in the private classes. Each step-by-step way to do that. My main thing that I work with 99% of the time is necromancy on all levels. This is why those who saw the video with my altar and our altars here, it's mostly a necromantic vampiric kind of altar. That's 99% of the shit I deal with. I deal with tantra, left-hand tantra, but it's not as pervasive. I mean, it's not as on that level, okay? Necromancy is on that level because I'm getting further away from working with archetypes. As a necromancer, you really get away from working with archetypes and you become an individual who works with the elements of nature, earth, fire, water, air. Each of these elements have spirits connected with them. There's earth spirits. There's fire spirits, like jinn. There's water spirits, okay? There's air spirits. And you can connect with these different spirits in your work. For those who've seen the originals, right? If you haven't seen it, go on Netflix and watch it. The original shows you New Orleans, and it shows the vampires, it shows the werewolves, and it shows the witches. If you ever notice in that show, the witches never, rarely, ever contact a god or a goddess or deity or archetype. They mostly work with blood, water, fire, earth, air. That's what they mostly work with, because that really is the most powerful kind of magic. When you start giving yourself to these gods and goddesses, whether they're real or not real, that's always will be up for debate. I know what I know and feel. That shit ain't real. That's just man created, and we worship nothingness and give it our emotional energy, creating some astral energy that seems real. But anyways, when you work on that, you start to really understand how spirits work and how they're connected with the elements. Okay? If you ever pay attention to your candles when you're working with spirits and opening gateways to working with the sea spirits, spirits who want to make a statement usually can cause your candles to go high and flicker really fast. Okay? That's communication trying to come through. You have to learn how to open your mind and hear it. You have to listen to what the spirit is trying to tell you. That's key when you work with spirits, okay? Is listening, learning how to listen. But if your mind is scrambled and jumbled with a bunch of bullshit, you're not going to hear the spirits. You got to learn how to clear this mind up to hear the spirits. Shit, this thing keeps jumping. Hold on, y'all. Well, Sir Noble, if that's... Yeah, Sir Noble, I'm like I said, I'm gonna do more private classes. I'm really working with closing gateways and all those things. Just stay tuned. Okay, stay tuned. One of the things you should do, and I tell this to everybody, you should once a month Go through your house with sage and Palo Santo. Okay? You should do this once a month, all the time, to clear your house. All right? The only problem with sometimes when you do these cleansings is you may get rid of the good spirits there too. Sometimes spirits there they just will leave. Now people will tell you no, but sage doesn't. No, listen, I've had the experience of working with that. Sage can clear anything there, good, bad, ugly, and beautiful. So, but you still should do it once a month, because if you build the energy there, the spirits that you work with will still stay. They know, they understand. You're just cleansing it from attracting those kind of lower vibrational spirits that can hurt or harm. All right, and yes, it's Dr. Emoto. That's always, I always forget the name, but that's who worked on water and how it reacts to our emotions and our oral expressions. Whenever you work with necromancy, you work with the spirits, you should always have a necromantic journal. To first of all, you should always log in all of your experiences that you had, because then you could go back and see the progression of your work. Okay, and then you could also pinpoint where you need to focus on more, etc., etc., etc. You can see your weaknesses, you can see your strength. You can focus on those weaknesses, how to make them stronger in your work. So you should always log these things in a journal. I will check it out, brother. Matter of fact, let me cut and paste that shit right here. So, brother Polk, Mario Polk, also known as Andre Polk, says, hey, check out the PDF Thoughtforms Shaping Our Life, Shaping Our Afterlife by Lori J. Alaniva. So I'm definitely going to check that out. So for everybody interested, check that out. Oh, perfect. Anyways, it's on scrib.com for those who got membership to scrib.com. I suggest that everybody and anybody get your membership to scrib.com. It's only $8.99. You can read brand new books from beginning to end. And then from there, you know if you really want to buy the hard copy of the book for yourself, or you read it, got some information, you can make notes off of it, whatever. They also have PDF files that are sometimes hard to find that you can download to your computer, save it for all times until you can actually get a hard copy. Some of them are rare and it's hard to find a book. Some of the books are $1,000 sometimes. So if you're not willing to go that route, then you always have the PDF file. All right. So everybody check out Scribd, SCRIBD.com. It's only $8.99 a month. Been member there for like 15 years now. All right. Yes, Jennifer Long, that's a perfect example of Thoughtforms, because your partner's putting mad energy into playing those games. Their emotions are all involved, so they can create Thoughtforms where the game is being played. If you're near them while those games are being played, then they can influence you and affect you. Yes. Listen, if you work with spirits, you can smell that. Like my wife sometimes and myself, we can sometimes smell what smells like rotted flesh. Sometimes it's like sulfuric odors. Yeah, when you open those doors, you can smell it. So you just got to be prepared for some of that when you work with spirits. Yes, guidance from the ancestors, confirmation always will be on point. Yes, yes. That's right. Mama Muerte, Mama Muerte. Like the name change though. Smooth. That's right. Cobra Queen, when spirits try to get a hold of you, they'll knock things over. You may smell certain things. That's how the spirits work. B. Amos 85. Most necromancers that I know of don't work with archetypes, period. And if they do, sometimes it's demonic death spirits. That's about it. Like for example, I'll give you a couple of them right here. Okay. There's Babael. There's Mephisto. There's Belith. There's Boone. There's Murmur. There's Belial. There's Hecate. And Anpu. Those are some examples of what they consider demonic death spirits to work with, or archetypes. Do you have to? Hell no. The point is I'm getting away from that. The one I do work with the most, the two I work with the most is probably Kali and Anpu. Okay, when it comes to necromantic archetypes, that's the two I work with. I reduced it from a lot more than that to down to two. Eventually, when I really feel that I've embodied those principles of Kali and Anpu, then I'm going to bypass those two, and there'll be no archetypes on my altar, and there'll be nothing but death current tools and symbols. Oh, shit. Fallout 4? Yeah, that can have an effect on you, seriously. Fallout 4. Those kind of video games or RPG games sometimes can affect the mind where you see it in your sleep. Listen, I play Halo sometimes. For all those who are Halo fans, shout out. Sometimes when I used to play Halo, I swore them fucking aliens were in my sleep. I knew where the shit was coming from, y'all. I'm just saying. Uptown, what up? Uptown 157. What up, what up? Yes, it is. Gaia's everything on TV right now. Yes, that's 100. Depends on the individual. For some people, channeling is everything. For other individuals, it's not all that. So it depends on each individual. That's right. Muerte, you can sage, you can do all that, but that comes with work. Always. Palo Santo, sage, all that. You just, people walk around and they say, oh, I banish spirits, I clear spirits, I make love to spirits, whatever the hell they want to say. But there's work that needs to be done afterwards. Unfortunately, people don't do it. All right, some good focusing techniques. We already discussed this in one of the necromantic classes. So I'm going to go over this briefly, and then, like I said, we're going to go deeper into doing these in private classes. If you're really up for really learning necromancy privately and in-depthly, hit me up so we can start getting the curriculum together to be sent out. All right? So, first step, simple. Find a crystal or stone. Put it on your altar and use a timer. Most of these phones have timers. And look at that stone or crystal for 2 minutes uninterrupted. See if you could do 2 minutes. I can almost guarantee you some of y'all can't. And I can almost guarantee that some of you all can. You should be at this point, if you are consistently practicing your rituals, beyond 2 minutes without being distracted, looking at that stone beyond 2 minutes. Things can happen while you look at this stone. Visions, thoughts, ideas, spirits, all things can jump. Just look at that stone for 2 minutes. That's step one on focus. Simple, but it's coming from the curriculum that we're going to get busy on. All right. I already have most of this stuff already printed out. I just put it out today. If you're down for the necromantic private classes, hit me up. We're going to go in depth. I have most of the curriculum for 4 weeks already laid out. As we begin the 4 weeks, I'm going to continue working on the last 4 weeks. All right. Now, for those of y'all in the Florida area who are able to come down to Central Florida, that's Tampa, Orlando, Daytona, those areas, if you're able to come down or live in these areas, let me know, because we will get together and go to a graveyard and do some rituals there as well. All right. December. Okay. I may not be here. Okay, here's the thing. I may be here, but I may not. I may be too tired. Let me explain why. I was going to make this announcement towards the end of the month, but I'll just say it now, then I'll say it again towards the end of the month. December 10th through the 21st or 22nd, I'm not going to do any videos. It's probably like 2 weeks I'm going to miss. Me and my wife are going on our honeymoon to Hawaii. So you best believe I'm not trying to do any videos before I leave, any videos while I'm there, any videos when I come back. I'm chill mode for 2 weeks, straight honeymooning it, straight swimming it, parasailing, jet skiing, slingshotting it, zip lining it. I'm going to do it all. 2 weeks in Hawaii. So from December 10th through the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, it's 2 weeks I ain't doing 3 weeks I ain't doing no videos. All right. Now, if I'm still fine, if I've gathered my senses and my energy, then I'll hit the end of the month in December ritual. Okay. But if I'm not, I'm still chill mode, relaxed, and I'm gonna still be recovering from the honeymoon. Nah. So yeah. I'm starting to do more with the channel, the YouTube channel. As y'all saw earlier, in the end of October, I put up a Guy Orange Festival here, which is a big Latino festival. That it was not that good this year. Normally it's better, but I put that up. Plus, you know, I have brand new camera. I have Adobe Pro, which is good for editing. Okay. So I'm starting to make other kind of videos to bring a little more spice and pizzazz and jazz into the channel. So today I put up a quick video on graffiti art in Orlando. This area is an historic neighborhood of Orlando, which is Paramore, which is an African-American historical neighborhood. Some of that area is being turned into a art district, such as Wynwood in Miami, which is an art district. So they're turning that into some galleries. They have graffiti art. So check out that video. They have some really nice pieces up there. A lot of the artists are African-American, Latino, things like that. Check it out. So I'm going to start doing more of that in the video. So when I get back from the honeymoon, you'll see some clips from our time there. And, you know, as my editing skills get better, the videos get better. But you'll see some clips from the vacay, and all the things and fun that we had. All right. So check that out. Check out the graffiti piece for those who are interested in seeing other aspects of my life, you know, the things I love, like hip hop, graffiti, traveling. I love traveling. Been to buku amount of places and going to more places. Been to Jamaica. I've been to St. Kitts. I've been to Antigua, Bahamas, St. Thomas, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Belize, Honduras, Mexico, Thailand, Dubai, and now going to Hawaii, though it's part of the United States, I still look at it as another country, even though it's part of the United States. In the summer next year, I'm going to Italy. So I'm going to start putting more of these things out for people who like the traveling life or want to learn about other cultures and things. So look forward to that too. So when I'm not able to, like this week, I was trying to do the Kali ritual, but I had a lot of things to do. So I think tomorrow I'm going to try to record myself doing the Kali ritual for those who are wanting to learn how to do more left hand path rituals. And then I've already gotten a couple emails while we've been talking about people interested in necromancy classes and the books and things like that. So I'm gonna start getting y'all the information, the curriculum. I'm gonna start sending the first week out by at least Wednesday or Thursday. I should have it out to y'all. All right. So if you're ready for that, let me know, and we'll go. Now, any other questions before we wrap this baby up tonight? Yeah. I think sometimes, and we all forget that all of us have personal lives, and this is why when we have events, and this is why I'm trying to get an event in Central Florida, because it's not always so easy for me to get to Miami all the time because I run two businesses. I got a lot of stuff I do. All right. So because of that, I can't always get down there. But I'm trying to get stuff together where I can meet some of y'all. If I get things together here, we can meet some of y'all here. Also to show you the things that we like. I'm a person. I'm not just a person who lectures. I'm a person. I like things. Nice things. Okay? I love nice things. Nice house, nice this, nice that. We're gonna probably be moving in the next couple of years to a bigger, better house. So all these things, I like nice things, nice clothes. I wear a lot of polo, Tommy. Yes, I'm evil in the conscious community. Fuck them though. I'm gonna wear what the hell I like. Okay, I wear nice clothes, Tommy's, polos, things like that. That's just me. That's what I like. I like going and traveling, staying in nice hotels, things of that nature. All right. So keep in mind that we all have lives. I would like to know some of y'all. Introduce yourselves. Hi, this is me. Hi, this is how I look. I know you can't see me. Yeah, I can't see none of y'all. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm into. Yo, I like that music you like, or this and this and that. All right. I grew up as a hip hopper, but after the hip hop clubs closed in New York, I got into house music. I was a deep house music head. So I was a dancer. This is why I told y'all before. Some of y'all, I think, saw it. Some of y'all haven't. But I was a dancer. Okay. And there's a video I was in when I used to dance, I actually professionally dance, called Yardcore by Born Jamericans. Some of y'all may remember Born Jamericans. It's called Yardcore. If you go there, you'll see me in there dancing. I was a straight dancer. All right. Hip hop, dancehall, reggae, deep house music, jazz, salsa, Niger, Afrobeat music. That's the kind of shit I'm into. All right. Just in case y'all know, I'm a real human being too. So I'm sharing a little more about myself so you know that I'm down to earth. I love to have fun and things like that. All right. So that's my ish. Deep house music is my number one ish. Hip hop and all that are like 1A. They're all real close, but that's my ish. Okay. Dance house music all night long. Depends. Some ancestral spirits can be grounded, meaning they're not really in the astral realm. They're more grounded or connected or stuck to the earth. These spirits sometimes, because of their anger, their rage, their confusion of what happened to them, sometimes get stuck here. They're the ones who can cause hauntings. They can haunt houses or places. You sometimes, as a necromancer, have to help them cross over, meaning release or unground themselves so they can cross over so they can begin their schooling to graduate to another level. That is a part of what the necromancer does. This is something else we'll be discussing as well when we do more the private classes on how to help spirits cross over, because sometimes you may have to. It could be even your own family or relative that's still stuck. So there is ways to help them cross over, right? Andre Polk, yes, it was. That Yard Court, that was my song. They were my good friends, man. At that time, when I was dancing with them, I was at Howard University at that time. So go check out the video, y'all. Born Jamaicans. Put in the name. Born Jamaicans. Y'all can look at it now, and I bet y'all see me. If you pay attention, the name of the song is Yardcore. It's on YouTube. I was going to come out in a video from Diggable Planets, but then they had problems with their label, and the video never got done. All right, so if you remember the group Diggable Planets, I was cool with them, and I was about to come out in a video. And another video I was going to come out with was Bush Babies. I don't know if y'all remember Bush Babies, but yeah, I was cool with them. Mr. Man, especially Mr. Man. I was cool with them, and I was going to come out and stuff too. All right, well, if y'all here in the time in the Orlando area that I'm here, we definitely can meet up. That's a 100. We'll meet up on that. Oh, shit, Jennifer. Tracks. Yeah, I remember Tracks. On Friday night was straight night. That's when we used to go with straight night. And they used to play deep house music and house music all night long there. So you took me back. When I was at Howard University, I used to go to Tracks. So yeah, Mama Huerta, if I'm here during that time y'all here, we definitely gonna meet up. No ifs, ands, or buts. All right? So anybody who wants to see that video, if you already saw it, you can laugh now, you can joke around, whatever the hell you want to. It's all good. I heard it all for all these years. All right? So that's what we have going on. Private classes are starting soon. Like I said, I'm going to try to get y'all the first week of information sometime this week, Wednesday or Thursday, no later than by Saturday. And we'll go from there and really start working some necromancy. Yes, the graffiti pieces are nice. People sleep on Orlando. Let me tell y'all this real quick. People sleep on Orlando, and I'm going to tell you why. I bet you if I ask all of y'all right now, Orlando, what's the number one thought that comes to your mind? Anybody type it in. Well, actually, Jennifer Long, yes, there was a straight night. This was in 1994 and 95. Friday nights was mostly straight night. It was mixed, but it was mostly straight night. And I can remember that because I used to go there every Friday. Yep. Tracks in Southeast. That's right. When y'all hear of Orlando, what do y'all hear? Disney. That's what most people hear. Okay? Disney. Orlando is a city. And I ask people all the time, have you been to Orlando? And they say yes. I say where? They say Disney. That's not Orlando, y'all. Disney is actually 20 minutes, maybe more like 30 minutes, depending on traffic, sometimes an hour, from downtown Orlando. It's in Lake Buena Vista and in the Kissimmee area. That's not Orlando. That's a whole nother town. People do not realize Orlando actually has a city. It has its life. It has museums. It has clubs. It has malls. It has restaurants. It has all kinds of stuff. So no, if you've been to Disney, you've never been to Orlando. You've been to Disney. Okay? Yeah, see, that was before me, Jennifer. I was there in 94 to 98 in D.C. In 94 at night, 94, 95 at night, Friday nights, used to be straight night there. Then I used to also go to Paradox in Baltimore. I don't know if y'all remember Paradox. Anybody from that DMV area or Baltimore area? Some of us used to bounce from DC and go up to Baltimore to Paradox. Anyway, Andre Pope, that's 100. I used to be, all right, put it this way. First time I got into hip hop, I was probably, the first time I heard it, I was probably like 6 or 7 years old, 77, 78. In the South Bronx, my cousin used to live right down the street from Bronx River Parkway Bronx River Projects, where Bambaataa is at, in the Zulu Nation. So I used to see Zulu all around there. And when we used to walk around there to go to the basketball court, we used to see some of the jams in the park, and I used to hear the music. Anyways, as I got older, I started falling in love with it, the culture and the stuff more. I think I was 12 years old. First group I ever started breaking with was this other crew. By that time, I had moved to Connecticut. I was with Break Steady Crew. That was the name of the crew. Then the second breaking crew was Wild Style B-Boys. But in between there, I actually got to meet Crazy Legs and Mr. Wiggles and PK Swift and got taught how to break by them. I'm still nice with breaking. I just don't do it because I actually will break myself if I try to do it. And I used to DJ. That was my other thing. I used to DJ. Me and my boys were DJs and breakers. They used to bomb and tag all the time. I could just do some tags, but they was kind of whack. So that was always my thing. That's my thing. Yep, that's right. Paradox by the Train Track. All right, do any of these books deal with familiars? Some of them deal with familiars and go into the aspect of familiars. Martin Coleman in his book, Communing with Spirits, goes into that. So that's a good book to get. If you can't get it because you can't find a hard copy, like I said, I have the PDF copy. All right. Oh, shit. You air flared your back out. That's what you did, Andre Pope. Anyways, y'all, any other questions before we wrap this up? Just wanted to share a little bit more because people sometimes say, that I don't just share or disclose my life. Well, I don't. There's a reason I keep a lot of it private, but just letting y'all know I'm an individual too who likes things in life too. Not just sitting here all the day, all the time, humming. I actually enjoy life. So hit me up with any other last questions before we wrap this up. And all these books, let me go over the books again. Honoring Death by S. Connolly. Witch's Book of the Dead. Communing with Spirits by Martin Coleman. Those 3 books are must-have books for individuals who are going to take the Necromancy private classes. All right? Those 3 books are a must. If you can't get the PDF file, if you can't get the hard copy of Communing with Spirits, let me know. I'll send you a copy of Communing with Spirits. Those 3 are our 3 textbooks, I will say, that we will be coming from. Okay? So definitely have those books in your library. All right? Make sure you have those in your library before you decide to sign up for these classes. Okay? And we will get intensely deep into doing this work. But the first week or 2 is going to be mostly visualization, concentration, and focusing classes. How to really focus, how to really visualize, how to concentrate. Okay? Because you really are not going to get really in depth into your work until you get those basics down pat. People ask all these difficult questions or try to do difficult tasks without getting the basics. The basics are essential in your work. If you can't get the basics down pat, stop trying to jump the gun, because you're going to get stuck somewhere and it will reveal itself, and then you'll find yourself in a predicament. Get the basics down packed. You should be able to meditate. Even if it's just 2 minutes, you should be able to meditate on some shape, form, or fashion. You should be able to focus for more than 2 minutes. Okay? You should be able to have intense concentration. You should understand why visualization is important and how to increase your visualization skills. You should understand vibrations, tones, frequencies. Okay? You should understand the elements, earth, fire, water, air. You should understand these things before we go deeper into serious work. So the basic introduction to the necromancy classes is going to be basic practices to really make sure we have that down pat before we go further. Okay? So if that bores you, and then you want to jump to week 2 and 3 and 4. If you can't get week 1, sorry, I can't go any further with you. You got to get the first steps down. It's important, because I'm not going to play the game of jumping the gun for people who can't be disciplined to get the basics down packed. Then they want to jump to week 3 because it's deeper and more of what I want. I don't care if you've been doing this for years. It's always good to refresh your mind by going over basic steps and always increasing your basic skills, even if you've been doing this for years. It's always good to go back and make sure that foundation is strong, because anything built on a weak foundation will crumble. So always make sure your foundation is strong, and the foundation is built upon the basics. That's right. You got to get through elementary school before you get to high school. So always remember, those basics are essential. Okay? Are essential. Now, please go on serpentcrystals.com. You need skulls. You need all the section there for vampiric magic is related to necromancy. If you're going to work necromancy, you're going to have a skull or different things on there. So please do yourself a favor and have some of these implements and tools before we do all this work. It doesn't make sense to do this work and your altar is bare. Okay? Then you'll be like, well, I don't understand. Well, of course you don't understand, because you don't have the tools in front of you to understand. So get these basics. Get the implements and tools you need. Get the graveyard dirt. You have to have that if we're going to work necromancy. Get the human bone powder that I have, okay, before it runs out. It's essential to work this, okay? If you don't have these basics, can't help you, buddy. Any other questions before I wrap this up? I know somebody's going to have a question right when I'm ready to wrap it up. That's never fails, y'all. Somebody going to have a question right when it's time to wrap it up. I'll give you about a minute before I say peace out. No, 2 minutes before I say peace out. Somebody going to type something. Respect to you too, Mama Muerte. Mama Muerte. Mama la Muerte. La Muerte de Mama. Duma, I just saw your question. It can, but the Grim Reaper is a symbol of death. It's used by people who work with Santa Muerte, but it's not necessarily Santa Muerte. It's the symbol is utilized by that. The symbol Grim Reaper goes back. It can be found in many different cultures, depicted similar or different, but that symbolism and understanding of Grim Reaper has been there forever. So it can be connected to any working of necromancy or working with the spirits that have deceased. Yes, that too. You can find some good stuff in some of these places for Halloween. Now that it's after, you can find some good discount deals to set up better things on your altar. All right. So let me do this. Oops. That's my email. And that's the website. I have Wormwood on there. Oh, I forgot to. Oh, real quick, y'all. For those who are still here. Damn, I forgot, y'all. I forgot. You got to get some of these herbs, y'all. And I have some of this on the website, all right? You have to have some of these herbs if we're going to work necromancy. You have to. No ifs, ands, or buts, y'all. I almost forgot to share this list with y'all. It's essential. It is essential. All right. All right. So, anyways, let's begin. Anyways, all right, let's begin. Balm of Gilead, which is connected to the Jupiter energy. It's for consecration, necromancy, divination, and love magic. You got to get those herbs. Frankincense. You got to get that incense, powder form, or herb, which is for banishing and purification. Licorice root, which is for lust, passion, fidelity, and necromancy. Mandrake. You have to get that. Mistletoe. I don't really work with that as much, but some people have said it's effective. Monkshood, which is for Saturn energy working with Hecate. And for some, I use this monkshood to work with Baun Samedi, and I'm actually going to get a supply in for the website. Okay. So, monkshood, Hecate magic, necromancy, astral magic, and execration magic. Like I said, I use monkshood to work with Baun Samedi and some of the Gede, which is connected to the Saturn energy. Mullein, which is connected to graveyard dirt. It's good to drink as a tea. Please put honey because it's nasty as crap. And it helps you get in a state of mind and vibrational frequency to work with the spirits. Sulfur, I have that as well on the site. Y'all need to have sulfur for these classes. All right, which is protection, exaltation, magic, and necromancy. White sandalwood, mercury, protection, healing, purification, consecration, necromancy. Wormwood. Wormwood is a must, and I have that on the site. It is a must to work with necromancy. And it's connected to Mars, exaltation, magic, psychic development, necromancy, protection, love, and transformation. Now, I will also share recipes on how to make herbal recipes to use to create certain herbal incense to make it more effective to open gateways to speak with the spirits. All right, there's formulas that I will share with y'all in these private necromancy classes. So please get those. I have some of those on my site. It's essential that you get, especially wormwood and mugwort. I forgot to mention mugwort. It's essential to get these. We're going to work these private necromancy classes. All right. Dark light. So what do you do with all of those old statues you no longer work with? Me, I put them under my altar. I cleanse them every so often, but I put them under my altar because you never know when you might want to work with that on a certain left-hand path ritual that you might want to do. So I always have it there, keep it always clean. And then when I need it, I'll put it on the altar, clear the space, and utilize that for essentially that purpose alone. So that's what I normally do with them. All right, y'all. So get the herbs. To do yourself a favor, you really want to work this, get the herbs. All right? Get the herbs and get those books. And those who are interested, email me at darkoccultist99@outlook.com. darkoccultist99@outlook.com if you're interested in joining the Necromancy private classes. All right? I'll check y'all next week when we go into part 2 of Thoughtforms with spirits of the deceased and necromancy and how they affect you. All right, y'all. Peace.